Horse Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Yokomo Rookie Drift 1.0, steps 10 and 11, the front suspension. So let's get started. So again, we're going to be using the supplemental manual because in my kit at least, the supplemental manual is included for step 10 and 11 arm installation. So just take note of that. If your kit came with a supplemental manual, make sure you're using that. We're also going to need the front shock tower that we made in the previous video. I believe that was step 8. It says the ball ends are included in bag 2, but it looks like the arms are already pre-assembled and they're in bag 7. So just take note of that. That's for step 10. So, and then looks like we're gonna need this other bag 7 that has the hinge pins in it. So just take note of that as well. So let's get these opened up, and we're also gonna need 4 M3x10 button head screws, 2 M2x4 screws, button head screws, and it says that we need 2 M3x6 screws, but I think those are already installed in the arms. We're also going to need 2 ball studs. So we're going to be installing the front upper arms in the supplemental manual, and then it shows that we're assembling the lower arms as well in step 10. So I'm going to set the lower arms aside for now. We'll just focus on the upper arms. So these are the upper arms here, and they look bidirectional, but what we're going to do is we're going to look at the notches on the turnbuckle. So the notch indicates left-hand thread, and we want to put all the left-hand threads on the left side of the car so our adjustments are the same. Same directions when we adjust. So just take note of that. That's how I'm going to do it. So this is going to be my left arm, and this will be my right arm since the notch is on this side. So these arms are supposed to be 60.4 millimeters according to the supplemental manual. So we're just going to do a double check, make sure that they are correct. So it's from outside to outside. Yeah, they're close enough. We're a tenth too long or too short. I'm just gonna trim some of this plastic. We're also gonna need 4 upper arm spacers. So we can grab those off the parts tree. They're right here. All right, our hinge pins for the upper arms are going to be 32.5 millimeters. There's 2 different lengths, so we're going to be using the shorter ones. So we have our arms, hinge pins, our spacers. We need our front shock tower along with 2 M3x10 screws and 2 M2x4 screws. So let's go ahead and get those ready. So I said earlier we needed 4 M3x10 screws, but I think we only need 2 since 2 of them are already installed in the lower arms. All right, so We're gonna need our chassis now. And it looks like the hinge pins install in these holes here. In my supplemental manual, it's telling me to install it in the innermost and uppermost hole. So it'll be in this one and this one. And it looks like in our shock tower, it's going to install it in the same holes. So it'll inner and uppermost. So this hole and this hole. So we're going to install the suspension pins first. Then we're going to install 2 spacers on each side. Then we're going to install the arms. So we're going to install the arms in this orientation here. So this is my right arm, and you can see the notch is right here. And my left arm, and the notch is over here on the turnbuckle. So next, we can install the shock tower with the shock cap bushings facing the front of the vehicle. Just like so. And then we're going to install the 2 M3 by 10 screws in this hole and this hole, and then the 2 M2 by 4 screws in the small hole here and here. And those screws will hold the hinge pin in place so they don't fall out. You want to be careful when you install the M2 by 4 screws. Apply very light pressure, and as soon as you feel it shoulder up, it's good. You don't want to over tighten these because it will be easy to strip out the plastic. All right. All right, looks like we have some binding. Doesn't move as smooth as I'd like. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the upper arm spacers and sand them down just a little bit, and hopefully that'll give us the movement, the free movement that we'd like. All right, suspension arms move nice and free. That's exactly what we want. So now we can move on to preparing the lower arms for installation. All right, so let's set the chassis aside. We need our lower arms, and we need our ball studs. So we're going to install the ball studs in the second hole from the inside. So right here, in this hole right here. All right, let's do a check on these to make sure that they are the correct length. My supplemental manual is saying 67 millimeters. But spot on for the most part. So the original manual was saying the upper arms were 58.5. The supplemental is saying 60.4. In the original manual, the lower arms are 65 millimeters, and the supplemental manual is saying 67. So that's it for step 10. We're going to move on to step 11. Step 11 is installing the lower arms onto the chassis. So the arms are going to install in this orientation. This is the bottom of the arm, So the ball cup or the ball stud is offset to the bottom and it's pretty smooth on top, so that set screw faces the bottom. And it looks like the ball studs will face the front of the vehicle, just like so. So we're going to need our suspension pins. We're going to need the suspension pin balls, 2 for each side. We're also going to need 2 M3x10 flathead screws and the suspension mount that says 39.5, which is in bag 1. So I have parts from bag 1. It's going to be one of these suspension mounts. This says 45.7, 47.2, 43, 48.7, 39.5. So we're going to use this one right here. This says 39.5. Let's get this off the parts tree. Let's get the M3x10 flathead screw. All right, so this is the front suspension mount. This is going to be the bottom. This will be the top. So you'll be able to see 39.5 from the top. And this is the front. And this is going to be the back. So the suspension pins are going to install in here. I believe they're these right here on the parts tree. So let's get these off. All right, now we're ready to assemble. So we have the front of the vehicle, rear of the vehicle. We're gonna have the suspension pin ball. Then we're gonna need the 2 lower arm spacers. Then it'll be the arm. Then the other suspension pin ball. So now we can install this into here, and then we have our other suspension mount that'll go in the front. So there it goes. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. Suspension pin ball, 2 spacers, then the arm, then the last suspension pin ball. Then we can go ahead and install our front suspension mount, just like so. And then we're going to install the 2 M3x10 screws in this hole and this hole, and those will screw into the suspension mount. All right, so the lower arms move freely, the upper arms move freely. That's exactly what we want. If the arms don't move freely, just take a little bit of sandpaper and sand the spacers a little bit, and then refit to see if they move freely. So that's it for step 10 and 11, the front suspension arm installation. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you had any issues. I'll do my best to help you out if I can. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be step 12, the steering block installation. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.